Well, folks, we've reached the final video for Unit 5 on operations with fractions. And here we will examine two more word problems involving the addition or subtraction of fractions and mixed numbers. This is a continuation of the first video for Section 4, Lesson 1. Word problem number 3. Ingrid has 5/7 of a cup of blueberries. To make her prized blueberry muffins, that we see there to the right, she needs 3/4 of a cup. Does Ingrid have enough blueberries? If you think the answer is yes, explain how you know. If your answer is no, how much more does Ingrid need? Some key information here. Ingrid has 5/7 of a cup. She needs 3/4 of a cup. So to determine if she has enough blueberries, we need to compare the 5/7, which is what Ingrid has, with 3/4, which is what Ingrid needs. How you choose to compare 5/7 and 3/4, that's up to you. You could draw a visual. Just make sure that the holes that you draw for each proper fraction here are the same size so you can compare them correctly. I'm going to go a little different route. I'm going to actually use the idea of finding a common denominator for 5/7 and 3/4. And that way then I can compare these two fractions fairly easily. So my LCD for 7 and 4 is 28. I'm going to write an equivalent fraction for 5/7. 7 times 4 is 28. 5 times 4 is 20. An equivalent fraction for 3/4. 4 times 7 is 28. 3 times 7 is a 21. Now, with the denominators the same, I can easily see that 20 over 28 is less than 21 over 28. This is what Ingrid has. This is what she needs. So she does not have enough. Ingrid does not have enough blueberries. You might say that 20 over 28 is pretty close to 21 over 28, but if she's sticking to her recipe, she needs to make sure she has enough. So she has slightly less than what she actually needs. The next part of this question then is, how much more does Ingrid need? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 21 over 28, subtract the 20 over 28. Now, I could have started with 3/4, subtract 5/7. These were the two fractions that you were given, but I know I'm going to use those equivalent fractions to be able to subtract. They have the common denominator. And 21 over 28, subtract 20 over 28, gives me 1/28. So Ingrid needs 1/28 more of a cup. And our final word problem. Lola bought 4 cans of paint at the hardware store. She used 1 3/8 cans to paint her porch and 2 1/4 cans on her garage. The question is, how much paint does Lola have left? Let's highlight some of the key information that we have. So we know that she started off with 4 cans of paint, 1 3/8 cans used on the porch, 2 1/4 cans used on the garage. Now, operations. Well, operations here, we're going to have to use 2 different operations, because what we're going to do first is figure out the total amount of paint that she used in order to then figure out what she has left. Let's start off with Lola has used. We're going to add 1 3/8 plus 2 1/4. I'm going to use the LCD idea. I got 8 and 4. My LCD is an 8. So 1 3/8 stays 1 3/8. 2 1/4. That will become 2 2/8. I can now add the whole number parts, and that gives me 3. I add the 2 proper fractions, and that gives me 5/8. So thus far in her painting project, Lola has used 3 5/8 cans. Now comes the second part. How much does she have left? This is where this piece of information becomes important. We know that she initially purchased 4 cans of paint. We start off with the 4. We take away what she has used. So we have 4 subtract 3 5/8. How much is left? To subtract these, I'm going to, let's change the 4 to 3 wholes and then 8/8, which gives me another whole. And then that allows me to subtract the 3 5/8. I subtract the whole number parts. 3 subtract 3 is nothing. Then I subtract the 2 fractions, and an 8/8 minus a 5/8, that will give me 3/8. So therefore, with the symbol for therefore, Lola has 3/8 of a can remaining. Well, folks, that's it for the instructional videos for Unit 5, Operations with Fractions. I would now like you to proceed to the activities for Lesson 1 in Section 5.4. I hope you have gained some very useful knowledge with the addition and subtraction of fractions and mixed numbers.